Be myself and I don't need you. Yeah. There's something about them looks deceitful. Yeah. Tick, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick,
Queens and kings, it's Aisha and welcome back to my channel. Remember, the key to achieving anything you want starts with your thinking. Be positive and be blessed. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing my makeup and I'm also going to be chit-chatting. If it's all over the place, I apologize and I hope you guys enjoy this video. So this video is going to be a chit-chat get ready with me. I felt like doing my makeup today, so I figured that I'll just do my makeup on camera and talk with you guys. I already oiled my face and I used jojoba oil, so now I'm just going to prime my skin, and I'm just using the Maybelline Baby Skin. Honestly, this is a bit oily to me, but I'm not going anywhere, so it doesn't really matter. And this is the Instant Pore Eraser one. So I want to talk to you guys about self-love and just talk a bit about my experience going to school in Jamaica and how my upbringing affected my self-worth. I hardly do my makeup, so I don't even know if I remember everything. And I did my eyebrows off camera because they take a while, so I just did them off camera. Self-love, I think, has been a very important part of my life, and I think that my parents made sure that it was something that we understood without really just sitting us down or having a conversation, but just by their actions and the things we were allowed to do or not allowed to do. So and basically for this look, I'm just going to freehand it. So I kind of have an idea of what I want it to look like, but honestly, I'm not sure what the outcome will be. My dad, he grew up in Canada, um, but we, all of my siblings and I were all born in Jamaica. We grew up in Jamaica, except my youngest brother. He came here when he was 4 years old, and now he's 9. So he's the only one that's basically going to grow up here. Guess what? I didn't put a transition color. My younger brother is the only one that really is growing up here. So the rest of us, our upbringing was way different. When I was younger, for my sister and I feel like my dad was also preparing us for Canada because he knew that at some point in our lives we were going to move here. So when we were little, like, black dolls, I don't know if they existed in Jamaica, but if they did, they were something that was hard to find. So I remember when I was in primary school, when I was little, like my dad, when he visited Canada, that looks crazy. Anyways, when my dad visited Canada, he bought my sister and I like a black doll. So that's what we were allowed to play with when we were really young. And the older we got, the more we were allowed to play with a variety of, like, even though we never really played with dolls much. And I feel like when I was younger, I didn't really understand why. But now that I'm older, like, I completely understand it. Because having the black doll, like, I don't know. It's not like I never saw white dolls or any other type of doll. Well, to be honest, you mainly see white dolls. There isn't really an Indian doll or an Asian doll. The older I got, I feel like the more I understood why. Because especially with society today and social media, there's so many things that could influence you to, like, not like yourself or to not like the skin that you're in. And it's very important that even if your children are being influenced on the outside by society, about, you know, what's beautiful or how they should look. It's important that at least in your home, when they're with you, they know that they're beautiful no matter what. Because there are some people who, surprisingly, but I'm sure it does happen a lot, where it's their families that, like, actually them not loving themselves started from the home, and it started from the people closest to them. So that's one thing that I really appreciated, because that set the tone for how I would view myself in the future, like as I grew older and as I experienced more things. You know, another thing too was my hair. Like, I remember when I was in primary school, at some point I wanted to I wanted to perm my hair. I think both me and my sister wanted to perm our hair, because that's the time when a lot of people our age, they were perming their hairs and stuff like that. But there was no way that I'm going to use the warm honey concealer. There was no way that our parents were going to allow us to do that. Like, the only way we would be allowed to do that is after we've grown up and moved out. That's the only time we'd ever be allowed to do that. Because of that, because we weren't allowed to perm our hair, I always saw, you know, both my parents have locks, and I always saw my mom, both of them have really long hair. And whenever I would see my mom's hair looking curly, I would, that's what I like. Like, I love when it looked curly and stuff like that. But I didn't really like the traditional locks, because they have traditional locks, so they have the bigger ones. I didn't want that, so that's kind of why I didn't, at first, I didn't consider locks. But once I realized that there was no way my parents were going to allow me to perm my hair, then that's when we started considering it. And actually, around the time when I got my sister locks, that's when it was just starting to become a thing. I got my sister locks. Oh my gosh, concealer just. I have hooded eyelids, so it's so hard, because whenever I try to use the concealer, it just messes it up. I think when I got my locks, my mom's salon had just opened probably not too long ago. I did my locks in 2004, so I'm not sure if her salon was open then. Yeah, I think it was open. Yeah, it was open. What am I talking about? I actually did my hair by her salon. Like, I had to, when I started my sister locks, she had to do it while, I had to do it whenever she had no customers. So my hair actually took a few days, because we had to like, I had to like stop whenever she had a customer's here to do. So yeah, we got locks, and for some reason, like, I had to go through it with having locks in school, because in Jamaica, you're not allowed to wear false hair, fake hair to school. Even though my hair wasn't that long when actually, I didn't really have any issues in primary school. I don't remember having issues in primary school, because at that point my hair was still short. Like, it was still not too long. I did have issues with teachers at school. Once I started high school, I had issues with teachers, because they would come up to me and be like, "Oh, you have false hair," and I would be like, "No, it's sister locks," and then they would say, "Oh, I have to take you to the office because you have fake hair." Like, they still would not believe me. They would not believe me no matter what. This is not even a cut crease. Just call this a whatever. I don't know what the hell this is, but it's not a cut crease. And then they would always make, I'm gonna fix this one because I didn't do it properly. They would always make excitement over my hair, like, always. They take me to the office, they're like, "Oh, you have fake hair," and they chat their crap. At one point, my mom had to come to the school because the vice principal was making trouble, saying my hair didn't look good. And she was saying, oh, like if you're a Rastafarian, you have to wear a tam. It's like a crocheted hat that you wear if you're that Rastas wear. I don't know if I'll be able to insert a picture, but if I find a picture, then I will. So they told me I had to wear that, and I told them I'm not Rastafarian, so I wasn't comfortable wearing a tam to school because that made no sense. So my mom had to come to the school because my dad was in Canada at the time, and they said they didn't want to speak over the phone. They preferred if a parent could come there physically. So that's when my mom went, and from then I was allowed to wear. I was allowed to have my hair without a tam. And it's so funny because for a while locks was just not acceptable. There was one other girl that had locks in the school, and there was one other of my friends too that my mom did her hair that had it. But other than that, the one girl with the locks had she wore a tam because it was her religion. But for me and my friend, like we didn't. And since then, there's so many people at that school with locks, even teachers, because the way the school was before, it was like if you didn't enter the school with locks, they would basically try to get you in trouble if you decided to get locked. So say you were, high school is from grade 7 to 11. So say you were in grade 9 and you decided that you wanted locks. So after you graduate in grade 11, you have to take your Caribbean exams. And then if you want to move on to do grade 12, they had to accept you into grade 12, which was 2 years. If you decided to get locks in like grade 9 or 10, they would try to basically punish you by not accepting you into grade 12. And like that was way back then when I started the school. That was how they were acting. But sooner or later, like more students came into the school with sister locks because locks just became more popular, especially sister locks in Jamaica. So it became more popular and more accepted. So they really had no choice but to let people wear their hair and not try to punish them, because even the teachers had locks at that point. I'm using this BH Cosmetics palette, and I'm using the yellow. And then the thing is, I grew up a bit, I would say a bit sheltered, but not too sheltered, as in, what I mean by that is, maybe sheltered is not even the right word, but I wasn't allowed to like have sleepovers. I could have people by my house, but I wasn't allowed to sleep over somebody else's house. Wasn't allowed, like when I was in high school, I wasn't allowed to go to parties unless unless it was school related. So unless it was a part, like a fun day or a sports day or something at my school, I wasn't allowed to go. Even though I wasn't allowed to go to parties and stuff like that, I still had some freedom, because even going to primary school, up to a certain age, like my parents would take us to school. And as we got older, because it was me, my siblings, and a lot of my cousins, so it was a lot of us. As we got older, like we were allowed to take the bus by ourselves. So I've been doing that since primary school. And then in high school, I also did the same thing. I took the bus to school, took the bus home. So I still had a balance. I wasn't too sheltered. I went to my first real party that I didn't go to with like older family members was my graduation after party. Before then, I wasn't allowed to go to party. Actually, at that point, I didn't even try to go to parties, because if I even asked my dad, I knew the answer was gonna be a no. So I didn't even attempt to try to go to parties. And sneaking out of your house with Jamaican parents, I don't know how that works, but that's something that I'll never try, because I was never really like a rebellious type of person. So that's not something that I would ever try to do. Also, in high school, we were not allowed to wear any sort of makeup. at all. Like, you could not wear makeup. You could not even shave your eyebrows. If you shaved your eyebrows and they realized your eyebrows were shaved, then they would tell you that you're suspended until your eyebrow grew back to its natural thickness. So we did not wear any makeup unless it was the weekend and you were just going out. But at school, no. So I think that's so important. Um, that's like a good rule. That's one rule I would say is good. And also the fact that everybody wore a uniform. So whether you were poor or not, you wore the same uniform. You wore the same color shoes. So no one had to feel a certain way when they were at school, to be in like no flashy shoes and flashy clothes and jewelry or anything like that. So in that sense, things were a bit easier and even. So I'm finally back. I did my eyeliner and I also put my lashes on, and then I concealed the sides. That took forever. So now I'm gonna do my foundation, and I'm using the Maybelline Matte and Poreless Fit Me foundation. I don't do my makeup that often, so honestly, I don't even know which makeup fit me or not, because over the past year, honestly, I've worn foundation, like I could count on one hand the amount of time I've worn foundation. And this is my Morphe M439 brush. This foundation looks like, the color looks different. So as I don't even know where I was when I cut the video off, but at the end of the day, there's so many things that goes into how you feel about yourself, um, especially in today's world, because especially with social media and it even being a bigger thing now, where you see people every day looking perfect. It's hard, honestly. It's like something you have to work on every day, and you have to. Another thing that's important is also the type of people that you surround yourself with. So as long as you don't surround yourself with negative people that always talk down to you or try to make you feel like you're not beautiful, then I'm sure you'll be okay. Like, it's a process. I don't really like to put a lot of foundation on my forehead, so I'm not gonna put a lot on my forehead. So now I'm gonna contour, and I just like to contour before I highlight, just so that in case I mess my contour up, I can fix it with my concealer. I'm gonna use this NYX Wonder Stick.
But I'm not the man, I tell him it's my life. Man, I chilling in the studio, man, I vibing, it's my life.
So I want it to be a little darker here, so I'm gonna go in with this one. And whenever you see me looking down like that, I'm just looking at my laptop screen to see if I'm in focus. Use my Warm Honey concealer.
To play, then they use me to play. Man, I vibing all day. Man, I use me to play. I spitting for me bars, me I never back down. 1, 2, 3, me up on the countdown, man down. If you test me, man down. Original bad man, me around town. Them try to downgrade, bad man fi upgrade. Then try to evade, bad man fi evade. They can't believe it, they love how I spit it. They know I'm gon' kill it, and they know I'm gon' kill it. When they say it's bad, not the man, I tell them it's my life. Man, I tell him in the studio, man, I vibing, it's my life. And to play, then they use me to play. Man, I vibing all day. Man, I use me to play. Counting up these stacks, just trying to make a million. Spitting these bars from deep down within. You already know it's a killing when I'm spitting. If you're a hater, you can see me when you see me. Hold on, me not telling me they hold on. Calm down, me they telling me they calm down, man down. Is a man down. Bad man, them a see me round. When they say it's bad, not the man I tell them it's my life. Man I tell them in the studio, man I vibe in this life. I to play, then they use me to play. Man I vibe in all day, man I use me to play. Original Batman, oh, eh, oh,
I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching and be blessed.